Is this the end for MultiVersus? So I know it's been a hot minute since I've talked about MultiVersus, but we just got a huge bomb that just detonated on the internet in regards to the future of MultiVersus. And so the other day, Tony from Player First Games posted this update video across all social medias where he basically said that MultiVersus will be going offline as of June 25th as an end to the apparent open beta of the game, with a proposed full launch of the game in early 2024. So what this exactly means is that the game will be taken off of storefronts in the beginning of April, but if you did have the game installed and such, you are able to reinstall it from the store. So first things first, if you want access to this game once it finally goes down, then make sure you download it off the store right now. Secondly, the game will be taken offline as of June 25th, and so you will no longer be able to play any online matches from that point on. However, you can still do local things such as a training room or just local matches. This is such an unprecedented move for a game like MultiVersus, especially considering the fact that it had such a successful launch, having over 150,000 players playing it at one point. Like, MultiVersus was breaking records left and right. It was looking to be the next big coming of the platform fighter, and finally a considerable competitor to Smash Brothers. However, if you look at the numbers of the game right now, you can see that the current players have gone all the way down to under 1,000. This is such a dramatic fall from grace that I wasn't even fully aware of, because I personally, unfortunately, kind of fell off MultiVersus for a while. There was a multitude of reasons that I fell off MultiVersus that don't have to do with the game itself, but in terms of MultiVersus itself, the reason I personally fell off of it was I was getting a little burnt out on platform fighters in general. I spent so much time covering Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl first of all, and now MultiVersus was here, so I was playing a lot of platform fighters. But I think as many issues as there were of MultiVersus, there was one key issue for me that really drove to me personally exiting the game for the time being, and that was just the endless grind of all the different cosmetics and unlockables you could get in the game. It was a really great idea at first, you know, it's like you have these seasons and you have all these different things you can unlock as you keep playing the game. However, grinding for those points does take time, and I was basically playing this game for like hours every single day just to get up on the battle pass, and by playing it every single day during the season 1 battle pass, I only got everything like maybe 5 days before the season ended. And then right after that, you had season 2 come up and you had a whole host of other things, but you'd have to dedicate that same amount of time to get everything. And I personally was just getting a little tired of the grind personally. For a game that's supposed to be a free-to-play platform fighter that anyone can get into, there was so much work the game really asks you just to get all the characters unlocked. You know, most fighting games have a roster that starts off like 10 or 20 characters. Not MultiVersus. MultiVersus, you literally just start with like 1 or 2. You have to keep playing the game to get access to all the main characters. And so that was probably the primary reason why I personally fell off of MultiVersus. But another reason that MultiVersus sort of faded to this point is just the inconsistent updates. The game started off pretty well at first, you know, giving us Rick and Morty, Gizmo and Stripe and Black Adam. But going to season 2, we got Marvin the Martian, and that's basically it. The game's content slowed down dramatically. I think one of the reasons for this is because MultiVersus had a lot of different issues and needed to iron out that there just wasn't enough time to keep working on all that content. You know, you had all these connectivity issues, all these balancing issues. The whole list goes on and on, as MultiVersus had all these like fine-tuning things that needed to be done to make the experience as fluid and as seamless as possible. But unfortunately, as a result, there just wasn't enough to keep interest in the game, and so people slowly fell off of it as there was less and less things going on for the game to be excited about. I mean, you see in like lots of different online multiplayer games, they usually give you like roadmaps as to when you can expect certain content to arrive, even if it's a bit of a vague date. At least we have like an idea of what's to come. Like, take for instance the Smash Bros. Ultimate Challenger Packs. When those Challenger Packs are announced, you know that there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 characters coming out sometime soon. You don't know who they are and you don't know when, but you at least know something is coming. With MultiVersus, there just hasn't been that kind of communication, and now that we have this announcement that the game is going to be shut down, it makes total sense. They didn't have any communication because they simply did not have a plan to keep this going on. They basically came to the conclusion that to really iron out this game's issues and try to salvage it as much as possible, they need to literally go back to the drawing board, take the game off and relaunch it as a full game. And so that's where we're at right now. You know, a whole host of issues really brought this game down from its insane peak at the beginning all the way down to where we are right now. But now we have this point where the game literally has admitted defeat in a sense, and it's going back to the drawing board to retool itself and come back stronger than ever. But the issue is, I don't know if it's enough truly to get this game back on board. As great as the free service model really seemed like in the beginning, it unfortunately has sort of like led to all these other things that I'm not really sure if the free service model is really great for MultiVersus as a whole. In fact, I don't know if the free service model really fits in well with a platform fighter. You look at the games where like a free service model works really well, you know, games like Fortnite and such, and those games work out really well because it's so easy to just pick up and play those games. You know, you just have to know a few simple controls, pick your favorite character, and just go on and have fun with your friends. That kind of game suits a free-to-play model really well. But the problem with MultiVersus is that, first of all, the game keeps so much content under a paywall that it's hard to jump in and out of it just based off of that. But also the fact that all the characters are a lot more complex to develop than a Fortnite character would be. With all these different characters, you have to develop their unique movesets. You gotta develop all these like different mechanics and different physics. And you gotta make sure that they all gel well together with all the other characters. I mean, there's so much more that goes into a platform fighter than there is like a typical free-to-play game. And I just think that this model is just gonna be really challenging for these developers to keep up with. Because as you can see here, the pace that they were creating additional content for this game was not sufficient enough to support a free-to-play game. It is just not enough. And I'll admit, like, I was wrong about the free-to-play service model. I thought that this would be a great opportunity to really transform the platform fighting genre and make it one of the most popular and widespread platform fighters in the world. But I don't think I anticipated just how much development time it would take to develop all these characters. But it makes total sense because developing a platform fighter character takes so much more than just a typical like kart racer character or things like that. And so I don't know, if they stick to this free-to-play model, even if the game does come back with a bang and just like knocks a bunch of records out of the park again, I do have a sneaking suspicion that this is going to happen again, because I just don't see how they can keep up with the content demand a free-to-play game requires to be successful. I just don't see it personally. And I can tell that not only did they make everything so hard to unlock because they wanted to make money, of course, but also because how else are you going to prolong the game experience? You know, if you make everything really easy to unlock as well, then there's not a lot to keep people coming back into the game on the same time. And so it's a lot of different moving parts that I just think the free-to-play model is starting to really like blow up in front of their faces, which is a shame because MultiVersus was such a cool game when it got announced, and it's still a really cool game now though. Now don't get me wrong, like I really enjoy MultiVersus and I was planning to get back into the game eventually. Like I'm just not the kind of person that can play these games like 24/7 for months and months on end. Like I need a break from something, you know. I prefer playing games for a little bit and then putting it down and then playing something else. I personally like playing a whole bunch of games. That's what this channel is all about actually, is I cover a whole bunch of assortment of games. Like I can't just play one over and over again, and that's why I eventually got tired of MultiVersus, because it was literally demanding me to play it every single day for hours on end just to unlock everything, and I just had enough one day. I just couldn't take it anymore. So I don't know, I feel like this move, while as shitty as it is, especially considering the fact that lots of people paid for like founders packs and such, and now they're not going to get a refund for that content, and now they're stuck having paid for content for a game that they can't even access eventually. That in itself is really shitty. But I also just think that like unless they really retool this game and address some of the big problems in terms of like their current motto of how they were going to support this game, I just don't see it for this game. I don't see this game lasting that much longer, just because I've seen front and center that this motto just does not work, unfortunately, for a platform fighter. And so they either need to like really retool things, come up with other things besides different fighters and stages to put in the game and make it like as interesting as possible and as inviting as possible for people to keep coming back into it. But otherwise, I don't know, maybe I just don't know. I just really want MultiVersus to succeed because it's a great opportunity to see so many characters that might have been lost to the sands of time come back in this game, like Gizmo and Stripe. Like that's really awesome. I'm still holding out for a bunch of Cartoon Network representatives. Like I want to see Scooby-Doo first of all. I want to see characters from like Dexter, Johnny Bravo, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Ed and Eddie. You know, this hub that could be such a great way to pull in so many classic characters into it and really just give you like a nostalgic like fever dream. There's just just so much potential in this game, and I really want it to succeed, but seeing what's going on in the past like half year or so, I just don't see it in the current model that they have going on for the game. I don't see it personally. They really need to retool some things and figure out a game plan to make this game as interesting as possible for as long as they can, but this is not something I see going on forever like Fortnite or Overwatch, for instance. Like, I just don't see it for this game. It just does not seem like something that's sustainable, and that's why I'm very concerned that even with this big break, MultiVersus may truly be over sooner than we think. And so that's my doom and gloom like point of view. We do know the game is coming back at least, so it's gonna get a second chance, and I hope they don't just look at the game's problems that are right in front of their face. I also hope they take a look at the structure that they've structured this game around. What is their plan to keep this game going for years and years? What's their plan to keep content going on? What's their plan to keep players engaged for as long as possible? Because that plan went out the window with this recent release. And so those are the questions I really want them to start asking themselves in the development team. Not the questions of like, okay, I mean, yes, of course address all the different bugs, all the different balance issues, all the content issues in terms of like getting it out on time, but figure out a plan as to how you're going to make that happen. Figure out how you're going to make this a sustainable game for years to come. If the free-to-play model is not going to work, then figure out a way to transition it into like a regular retail game. Figure out a plan that's going to make this game successful in the long run, because what they did here did not work. And it's sad to see, and it's sad to really like grapple with that fact, but I'm hopeful that the team in the past has been very transparent and very communicative to fans and such, and so I do have a feeling they want to continue that. They want to do that as much as they can. So hopefully they figure out a plan, they figure out what they can do, and just come back and surprise us. I want them to shock me. I want them to surprise me and just showcase one of the greatest things that have ever happened in platform fighter gaming. I can't say that I have high hopes for this game at this point, but I really hope they prove me wrong. I truly do. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you all think about this news of MultiVersus going down? Are you happy they're doing it? Are you concerned about it? Let me know your thoughts, and just keep up with me if you want to hear more about MultiVersus in the future. It's definitely something I'm going to keep track of going forward, and I may just pick up the game for a little bit before the game ultimately goes offline, so maybe we can play some last matches before the game truly says goodbye to us for the time being. But alright y'all, thanks so much. This is Riders, riding out.